I'd like to invite everybody to take a seat, if you would, please. Can everybody take a seat, please, so we can get started? Thank you. Well, that's the way to kill great conversation. Well, my name is Clay Marsh, and it is my absolute honor and privilege to welcome all of you today to a very, very special event with special guests. And I want to acknowledge some of the key special guests that we have here. I'd like to acknowledge Linda Janknowitz. Linda, stand up and be recognized, please. I'd like to recognize Dr. John Mauger, who's one of our guests, and Jeff Mauger. Stand up, please, and be recognized. I'd also like to thank Francine Mosnack, who is the coordinator of this event, so please recognize Francine. And our collaborators from the libraries, from the Art Museum, and from the creative arts that are part of this. And really the inspiration for the event we have today is to create a place that represents the best of the university. And when we start to think about the health sciences, we really start to think about moving from helping people that are sick to helping create and promote health. And the root word of health and heal and holy and holistic are all the same, and they mean whole, W-H-O-L-E. So bringing all the disciplines together so that we integrate, so that we create beauty, that we create peace, harmony, that we create balance is really what we're trying to do. And this event to honor Dr. Art Janknowitz is one that gives many of us special pride, not only because of who he was and what he stood for, but to be able to recognize and honor somebody who is a selfless servant leader is always a wonderful opportunity. So WVU Art in the Libraries, in collaboration with West Virginia University Health Science Center and the William A. Neal Museum of Health Sciences, is opening a new exhibit that we will talk about at length. And I would like to say that as part of the new exhibit that is really highlighting the work of John Mauger and Jeff Mauger, and we're so thankful and grateful for your contributions to this amazing day. So we have a memento for people to take home, and these are hand-painted bookmarks, and they're on all of the tall, flat tables. And please take one with you that you would like as both a memento and a good placeholder for all the books that everybody's reading here. So that's great. And thank you, Dr. Mauger, for providing this, a really special treat. So Art Janknowitz is a legendary faculty member from the School of Pharmacy, leader, mentor, lover of the arts, lover of the practice of pharmacy, who is very much was a lifelong champion for health and well-being. Art was the chair of the Department of Clinical Pharmacy at WVU at the HSC and the School of Pharmacy for more than 16 years. And get this, I was really amazed to learn that Art mentored over 260 pre-pharmacy and pharmacy honors students. I think that is incredible. And the legacy that we all have, the bit of immortality that we have, is always in the people that we touch and the cascading effect of the impact they make on people in their own lives. In recognition of over 25 years of teaching, scholarship, and service, a former student created the Distinguished Chair in his name, with Dr. Jachnowitz being the first recipient. In 2004, the West Virginia University School of Pharmacy Alumni Association conferred honorary alumnus status on him. And that same year, he was named WVU's most loyal faculty mountaineer, which is a great honor as well. In 2012, Art was inducted into the West Virginia University Health Sciences Center of Academic Excellence in Teaching and Learning. And in addition to this work that he did with students and with teaching, Art published either as a primary author or co-author over 100 scientific and technical articles, abstracts, and presentations. And if that's Art on the phone, then this event has taken a whole better turn. So, Art was also one of 22 healthcare professionals nationwide to serve on the 2010-2015 Medicare Model Guidelines Expert Panel, which received the 2011 USP Award for Innovative Response to a Public Health Challenge. At the time of his passing, he was serving his 7th term on the National Association of the Boards of Pharmacy Licensure Test Review Committee, a distinction held by only 25 pharmacy practitioners and educators nationwide. Art was also a member of the Order of Vandalia, as I saw the medal in this casing, which is a real neat description of Art's career, along with some beautiful paintings. And over here, we see a history of the School of Pharmacy, and the main show is on the back hallway, which I affectionately want to call the Wall of Art, which I think is fitting. Art was also a beloved friend of the HSC, and his retirement became very involved and committed to WVU Art Museum's founding class of volunteer docents. I think both you, Linda, and Art were docents at the Art Museum. And the Creative Arts Center recently awarded Art and Linda the college's 2019 Allison Deem Distinguished Friends Award. And Allison Deem is a dear friend of the libraries and her husband, Pat, as well. The exhibit that we will show features life-size reproductions of original paintings by Dr. John Mauger and the former WVU School of Pharmacy faculty member and dean at the University of Utah School of Pharmacy, and his son, Jeff Mauger, who is a professional artist and a WVU graduate as well. So we'll talk about both of them soon. 2 original works by the Maugers are also in the display cabinet here with the mementos from Art's life. So Art, Healing, and Friendship, remembering Dr. Arthur I. Jachnowitz, will be on view from August 25 through May 2026 because of these fine gentlemen. So I'd like to have a round of applause for all of the people that made this day possible. And the first speaker that I'd like to invite up to the podium is Dr. Karen Diaz, who's the Dean of Libraries. And Karen is such a wonderfully committed person to the amount of knowledge and beauty and information that allows all of the people here to do what we do well. And she does it with such a humble servant leader's heart. So Karen, please come up and make your comments.
Thank you, Clay. Excuse me. I'm honored to be a part of this day. Yeah, I think I got it. Thank you. I'm honored to be a part of this day, opening this exhibit, which is here to remember the life and legacy of Art Jachnowitz. While I didn't have the opportunity to know Art personally, I know that his footprint looms large at WVU, and not only on the health sciences campus, but also at the Art Museum. I have the pleasure of knowing Linda in a variety of contexts, and I'm so grateful that she knew the resources that WVU libraries had to contribute to this day and brought us into this celebration. Knowledge, passion, and discipline are rarely singular in focus, and I've come to understand that Art was a consummate example of this. His dedication to his discipline and bringing those tools to bear in healing were evident. But he also recognized that healing was more than science and required a whole heart, that wholeness, that recognized the whole of humanity. Linda has created a perfect opportunity to reflect on those characteristics of Art by bringing art, friends, and legacy together in one place through this exhibit. Today, we have the community of his colleagues who knew his work in this place, the artistry of his friends whose friendship was also born in this place, and the talents and perspectives of the libraries and museums that contain the legacies to remind us of what and who move us forward. I'd like to recognize the work of Sally Brown. Sally is standing at the table in black back there, who helped curate the exhibition of the Mauger art. Her own training and sensibilities as an artist, mixed with her understanding of the Academy, has made her work with the Art in the Libraries program a sought-after specialty, perfect for occasions like this. I'd also like to recognize the work of Katie Thompson, also standing at the table, who is the curator of the Neal Museum, whose work documents the progress of healthcare in West Virginia, helping us to understand the role of individuals and their contributions. It inspires us all to realize that we can also be a part of the continuum of progress. I thank her for her research to document the history of the School of Pharmacy that is on the wall to my left, and her work with Linda to provide us with the artifacts that document Art's role and legacy in that process of healing. As Clay mentioned, these are available in the case to the back here. And I am grateful to Drs. Marsh and Drs. Petros for sharing this moment with the wider WVU community today. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Karen. That was great. So before I introduce our next speaker, I have to tell a short story. So Art was very involved with the School of Pharmacy. And we came to the point we were choosing a new leader for the School of Pharmacy. And the candidates maybe weren't up to his standard. And he was very clear with me that the standard needed to be high. And he reminded me about the responsibility that I had to the School of Pharmacy to pick the right leader. And Art was pretty consistently in my office visiting me until we came upon the idea of maybe recruiting Dr. Bill Petros as the School of Pharmacy dean. And then I didn't see Art at all. And what Art knew, and I actually knew as well, is that we couldn't find somebody better to run the School of Pharmacy than Bill Petros, an amazing leader, an amazing committed West Virginia citizen who serves as a servant leader, again, a recurring kind of theme I think you'll get from our leadership. But during COVID, I just want to brag on Bill because we decided that only pharmacists could receive the vaccines because of the value of these vaccines. And for every clinic that we had here at the university where the School of Pharmacy was involved, Bill Petros was at every single one of those, and I think drew up almost every single vial of vaccine for the students to be able to give. So his commitment and service, not only to the School of Pharmacy, but the state, set the bar, I think, at the level that Art Janknowitz was happy with. And certainly we are so grateful for you, Bill, for your service. So please come up and make your comments.
I'm not sure I want to say anything to discredit what he just said, but Art spent plenty of time in my office after he was done with him. I was used to that, though. So thanks all of you for joining us today and continue our celebration and appreciation of Dr. Art Jachnowitz. As we say, Art was a cherished faculty member in the School of Pharmacy, a beloved mentor, a teacher, and a friend. His contributions to the pharmacy profession are numerous, and I believe among those that what he would consider the greatest would be the many students and professionals he personally guided along their paths, spanning from every area of pharmacy, from hospital to industry to community. Art knew he was so well read and so versed he could talk about all areas. Suffice it to say, and that's a phrase that Art used to use a lot, and I love, he taught it to me. Suffice it to say, I would not be standing here as dean today, nor would I have pursued a career in advanced education and research without the sustained, wise mentorship and encouragement of Dr. J, as we affectionately would call him. For those of you in the 1970s, Art went to school in Philadelphia, but he was a different Dr. J than most of us remember from the NBA days. And my connection with Dr. J began in 1980 when I kind of walked through this outdoor area as it was at the time. And I met my future classmate and future wife, who's sitting over there, Karen. And so Karen and I were mentored by Dr. J over the course of our time here. And we oftentimes referred to him as our professional dad, because he gave us all the advice we needed, fatherly advice in our professions. So we lived out of state after we graduated for 17 years. But nearly every year, we returned to the homecoming game, the pharmacy tailgate that we would traditionally have at homecoming game, primarily to visit with Dr. J. We had to catch up with him every year. Team could be terrible, whatever. We had to see Dr. J and catch up with him. And he was certainly a draw. Deans came and went for those 38 years. Sorry, Dr. Rosenbluth. And Dr. Rosenbluth was our dean and beloved. But Art was the constant honey that attracted everyone back to Morgantown. So Dr. J taught us many things, but most importantly, how to be mentors, and in both professional aspects and personal lives, mostly through his actions and how much he cared about people. Now, once I became dean, he was an even more highly valued mentor, and I could always count on him for solicited and unsolicited advice that were honest comments on many major issues. And he would just appear in my office on about once a week or so, and we'd talk about things, even after we retired. So to this day, I still actually run big decisions through my Art filter, imagining, what might he do about this? So Dr. J, as we've heard, had a deep appreciation for all the threads that make up the tapestry of our lives. Love of the fine arts, and that's really what brings us together today, to enjoy the incredible works of John and Jeff Mauger. Now, Dr. John Mauger was also one of my wife Karen and I's favorite instructors. He taught us while we were here in the School of Pharmacy, and he gave us our first truly translatable knowledge as pharmacy students through his course on over-the-counter medications. So these are ones that we can actually go out and use this now, even as pharmacy interns, and help patients. Remember, his teaching was exceptionally clear and comprehensive, and instilled in us the confidence to educate patients, really for the first time as pharmacy students. Now, beyond his teaching, Dr. Mauger was a gifted researcher, and he was the first endowed chair in the School of Pharmacy. So he was a highly accomplished administrator and had distinguished tenures in pharmacy administration, both at the University of Nebraska and then as dean and beyond at the University of Utah. So in conclusion, a heartfelt thank you to Linda Jachnowitz, the Maugers, everyone who helped plan the event today, and I'll forget someone if I start to identify people, so I'm not going to. the displays honoring Dr. John Mauger and Jeff Mauger's stunning artwork and the rich history of the School of Pharmacy are truly remarkable. And I hope you enjoy and take the time to enjoy those treasures that we have with us and will have with us for a few months. So thanks again today, and thanks for listening.
Thanks, Bill. And I did not mention, but it is really true, that we certainly got a power couple from the work of Art and the other faculty in the School of Pharmacy. So Karen is also a remarkably talented faculty member here and practitioner. I'm going to introduce Heather Harris next. But before I do, I want to make sure I don't forget. So for anyone interested, the Health Science Museum and the Pharmacy Museum will be open after this event if people want to go through. And I'm sure we have some folks that would be happy to take you through and point out some of the highlights of both of those entities. So it's really a pleasure to introduce Heather Harris. Heather is the curator of education for the WVU Art Museum. But in getting to know her a bit better, she's somebody who is really passionate and so incredibly positive about creating something that not only has value to people who are fans of the arts, but something that can inspire others here. And as part of what we hope to do for all students, we hope to not only give them the right amount of professional training so that they can be competitive in the job market for their futures, but we also want to give them a large dose of personal inspiration and growth so they can go out and they can love the life that they live. And I think that through the work that Heather's doing, that we have a great opportunity to inspire a lot of people. So Heather, please come up.
All right. So I first met Art Jacknovitz in 2015. I had moved back to my hometown of Morgantown, West Virginia, after 15 years living away to build the museum education programs at the Art Museum of West Virginia University, beginning with its opening in August of that year. Art, under the tutelage and encouragement of Dr. Bernie Schultz, who's the former dean of the College of Creative Arts and professor of art history, had already signed on to be part of the Art Museum's inaugural class of volunteer docents. In the very first weeks that the museum was open, Art was auctioning off the opportunity for pharmacy students to tour the museum with him. This told me two things. Art was a natural champion of the interdisciplinary work that was at the heart of this new campus museum, and that he would be an unflagging ambassador for us in the months and years ahead. Indeed, in the years I worked with Art, his enthusiasm and commitment only grew. As I was preparing my remarks for today, I went all the way back through nearly 10 years of my email inbox history, which is terrifying. But I wanted to be reminded of Art's voice, of his wit and his wisdom, and the good-natured ribbing that was always a part of our rapport. One of my favorite finds in the digital archive was a note from late summer 2018, inviting me to a celebration of Art and Linda's 50th wedding anniversary. The opening salutation was, "Hi, my favorite nemesis." So, why on earth would a favorite nemesis be asked to speak at an event honoring Art's legacy? The nemesis part originates from the fact that Art and I came from two different schools of education, both generationally and in some ways philosophically. He was used to giving well-planned lectures full of facts, and I was used to building collages on the floor with preschoolers. As part of training Art to be a docent, I was continually pushing him outside of his comfort zone, to abandon lecture notes and to riff with little ones. And here is what I will say. I never quite got Art to be a collage on the floor kind of guy, but what I did do, and what we did together really, was form a lasting bond of respect and admiration for each other's style and expertise. Another note from him read, "After all my years educating college students, it was a delight to watch you with those little kids. I learned a lot." Art was indeed the definition of a lifelong learner, a person who was willing to be challenged by an upstart like me and laugh along with it rather than reject the challenge out of hand. A person who flooded my email inbox with notes and articles about museum exhibitions and news I might find interesting. A person who spent his retirement advocating not only for his professional field of pharmacy, but also for the value of creativity. Because what undergirded Art's commitment to the Art Museum of WVU was his firm belief in the importance and power of art for all people. He showed this commitment not only in his volunteer work with us, but also in his and Linda's support for a bus transportation fund to defray the cost of field trips for public school students. They set up this fund in honor of their niece, Abby, a young educator who passed away tragically young. And its legacy is continued to widening access to the museum for the children of North Central West Virginia. Students from Robert C. Byrd High School in Harrison County will be using that bus fund in a week and a half to tour exhibitions, make art inspired by them, and I still feel his presence every time I facilitate one of those trips. And today is really about that legacy. The title of this exhibition couldn't be more apt. I've had the pleasure of talking with Dr. and Mr. Mauger over the past 2 days, including a visit with my museum studies class that I teach for the School of Art and Design. The work on display and their genuine affection for art shows the enduring legacy of kindness, humor, and a profound understanding of the joy to be found in a life filled with art and love.
Thank you, Heather. That was wonderful. So our next speaker, and I'm really delighted to be able to introduce him, is John Mauger. And after getting to know Dr. Mauger a bit today, I have to say he has a wonderful spirit and an incredible ability to create comfortable conversation in people that he just met. So I am so delighted, and Karen, thank you as well for coming with John. So John was born in Scranton, Pennsylvania. I think The Office was filmed in Scranton, Pennsylvania, in 1942, and received his Bachelor of Science degree from Union College in Albany, New York in 1965, and both his Master of Science degree and PhD in pharmaceutics from the University of Rhode Island. John joined the faculty of the College of Pharmacy at WVU in 1971, where he became, as Bill mentioned, the inaugural holder of the Douglas Glover Endowed Chair in Pharmacy. He then moved to the University of Nebraska Medical Center in 1989 to serve as professor and chair of the Department of Pharmaceutical Sciences, and served then as the dean of the College of Pharmacy at the University of Utah, which is a great institution, from 1994 to 2009. That is a long time to be the dean of pharmacy. John served as the chair of the U.S. Pharmacopoeial Convention and was elected a fellow of the American Association for the Advancement of Science. He retired in 2009 from the University of Utah as Dean Emeritus and Professor of Molecular Pharmaceutics. You know, that is his professional career, but John also is a very talented artist, and he is really quite selfless in his contributions, both to coming here and helping display some of the original artwork and prints of his artwork, along with Jeff, who I'll introduce here in a few minutes, but also bringing these for all of us, I think, is just an incredible reflection of his kind and generous heart. So it is really with great honor that, John, I invite you up to the podium to make your comments.
Good afternoon. Thank you for the very kind introduction. Thank you. On behalf of the Mauger family, I'd like to begin by saying how pleased we are to be able to return to WVU on this occasion to honor Art Jachnowitz, a dear friend, and also to visit with many dear friends and new friends that we have made. We're especially pleased to be here. There are many people to thank, and I'd like to take a few minutes to do that because they are part of this and have worked very hard. We've put on many of these kinds of events, and to do them nicely, this is wonderful. It portrays the spirit of this academic community that we know. First, I would like to thank Dr. Marsh and Dean Petros for their invitation and warm welcome. And I would like to add a personal note from many years of academics, how heartening it is to be at an institution where the leadership promotes stewardship and service. I would also like to thank Dean Karen Diaz, who's Dean of the West Virginia University Libraries, and under whose aegis and leadership, the Arts and Libraries Committee and the William A. Neal Museum of Health Sciences worked very hard to bring this event to fruition. I believe this library-based theme of art, healing, and friendship is remarkable. It provides a unifying theme for the university, as well as a very strong sense of community. So I think it is very consistent with Dr. Marsh and Dean Petros' leadership. It is also one that resonates with the Mauger family and our strong feelings about this institution. We're especially indebted to Sally Brown, who worked with diligence and care and to reproduce our artwork for this occasion, which is very, and I must say with watercolors, it's very difficult to do that, and they're beautifully done, so thank you. We also would like to thank Paula Martinelli, who has also been a very kind hostess and helped us in many, many ways. Francine Mosiak and Scotty Foltz from Dr. Marsh's office. Katie Thompson, who's a curator of the Neal Museum. Dr. Heather Harris, who kindly gave us a tour of the art museum and allowed us to meet her class yesterday. And finally, Linda Jachnowitz, a dear friend. Thank you for including us for today's special occasion. My son Jeffrey and I are very happy to be able to provide the art for this occasion as one of the pillars of the theme of art, healing, and friendship. Jeffrey's paintings reflect his exquisite drawing ability that began as a small child. His mantra is tight mind, loose hand, which evolves into meaning. It helps him achieve realistic paintings on one hand, but they're impressionistic and have a lovely painterly quality on the other. My watercolors are small and reflect my interest and love of the English watercolor legacy, which goes back to Constable and famous painters you may be aware of from England. This avocation has meant a great deal to me because it has not only given me another intellectual outlet to study art and appreciate art, but it's also provided a special relationship with my son Jeffrey, who's the real artist and whose work I admire. The theme for this occasion, art, healing, and friendship, perfectly matches the Art Jachnowitz we dearly love and admire. And of these three pillars, I would like to focus on friendship because Art shared a very meaningful form of friendship that's worth remembering and honoring. To begin with, we were fortunate in 1974 to recruit both Art and Linda into our academic community. It was a quite different time, much smaller and very, very intimate, but they fit perfectly and immediately made an impression professionally. They added really tremendously to our academic endeavors. Art's important leadership in that earlier era of clinical pharmacy was not only based on his knowledge and training, but on his openness and his friendship, which guided his relationship with students, fellow faculty members, and West Virginia pharmacists. In turn, he garnered the respect and friendship of everyone. And I might add, there was a point where Art was the most requested continuing education faculty member for the whole state, which gives you an idea of his respect that was given to him by the practitioners in West Virginia. It reflected his warmth and interest in each person, which in turn is really reminiscent of the traditional family doctor that you may be familiar with in the Norman Rockwell painting, who seems so intent on the person. He was not only the mentor and educator, but he was really attuned to individual needs and willing to provide comfort in time of need. I recall that a former student died at a tragically young age. His sister was a graduate of our program. His sister, also a graduate from the WVU program, of all of the faculty, selected Art to be the speaker at the memorial service. And from what I can remember, because I went with him that day, was the insight and meaningfulness which I attributed to the fact that he knew the student so well as a friend. It was very touching. My personal relationship with Art was based on, indeed, my admiration and respect for him professionally and simply liking him as a person. However, we also shared interests in that earlier era when the Cook-Hayman Museum was in a different place than it is now. We became de facto co-curators of the Cook-Hayman Museum, and I emphasize de facto because unlike the people now caring for the museum, I had no training in history of pharmacy whatsoever. It was simply an interest in maintaining the museum, and Art and I shared that interest. It led us to having very memorable times together, hosting whole touring busloads of elderly retired people, of which I am now one of. On one occasion, a guest demanded that we provide a sewing kit to sew up her husband's trousers. We were assistant professors, maybe in our early 30s, and we did not carry a sewing kit with us. This woman was truly irate and very upset with us that we did not have a sewing kit on hand. Art's friendly demeanor and quick thinking saved the day, and as I recall, he left with a big safety pin in the front of his trousers. I would be remiss if I did not mention that the Mauger family has benefited from the friendship of both Art and Linda. They are godparents to our sons. Jeffrey has often commented about how much he appreciated their love, support, and care while he was a student here at WVU. And Karen and I have shared many good times with Art and Linda. And in the spirit of this conversation, also healing friendship during sad times. Linda, your special friendship is very dear. I will conclude by saying that I was fortunate to meet Art Jachnowitz over 50 years ago, which seems surprising to me when I say it. But I have, over that time period, given quite a bit of thought to his sincere and meaningful form of friendship, that did indeed provide healing, humor, goodwill, and what I would characterize as the best of what human companionship can provide. Art dearly loved to be with people, and he conveyed that to them on a very personal basis. The friendship he personified has guided me over the years to try to emulate the virtues and values I associate with him. And I would conclude by saying what a wonderful legacy he left for us to pass on to others. Thank you.
So I also want to acknowledge and recognize Jeffrey Mauger and his wife Jen for their contributions to this wonderful event, and also to the beautiful paintings that will be displayed for people to see. Jeffrey's a native of West Virginia, born and raised in Morgantown. He received his Bachelor of Science degree in landscape architecture at WVU, in which he gained an understanding of project management and construction, which is relevant to his current position at the University of Utah, where he also received his Bachelor and Master of Fine Arts degrees. Jeffrey's artwork has been shown in a number of galleries and private showings, and he has won several juried painting competitions. After graduation, he worked for several architectural firms and is currently working for the University of Utah College of Biology. I would say that in addition to his training and to his impact at the University of Utah, Jeffrey is another warm person that really follows in John's footsteps. So the connection is clear not only in the talent, but also in the orientation of how Jeffrey sees the world. And he sees the world with great compassion. He sees it through the eye of an artist and a creator. And I love the tight mind, loose hands, if I got that right. But it's really about not only trying to reproduce what you're seeing in front of you, but to allow that to speak to the people that see the painting so that they can make their own interpretation of it. And to me, that is a generous approach for any artist, no matter what the profession. So Jeffrey, please stand, and Jen, please stand up so we can recognize both of you. And Jeffrey said if we don't have a 2-hour time slot for his comments, and he's out. No, I'm kidding. It's all good. So for the piece de resistance, the last speaker is Linda Jachnowitz. And Linda is a force of nature like Art is in her own way. And from a young age, she had a strong interest in arts and valued education. This foundation helped her earn several degrees, including a bachelor's degree in English from Brooklyn College, a master's degree in information and library science at the University of Buffalo, and a second master's degree, if that wasn't enough, in public administration from WVU. I remember going to a talk that the Benedum Foundation sponsored 3 scholars from WVU. This was a year or two after I got back. And a speaker from the humanities says, we make a living from the sciences, we make a life from the arts. And that's always stuck with me. And I think that is a beautiful way to describe what we're doing here today. Linda has shown her lifelong passion for education in many roles throughout her career. She's worked at the National Library of Medicine, West Virginia Consult, which helps rural health professionals, and Mountains of Hope, the state's cancer coalition. Art and Linda were married for over 50 years, and both Brooklyn natives, and they found their almost heaven in their marriage and each other and being here in West Virginia. This exhibit, Art, Healing, and Friendship, remembering Dr. Arthur I. Jachnowitz, is really possible thanks to Linda, her heart for the arts, and her commitment to help us honor Art, her husband, who is so meaningful to all of us. Her generous gift reflects a shared commitment to bringing the arts into the health science community. And Linda, it is truly an honor for me to ask you to come up to the podium to be our final speaker of the afternoon.
Okay, can you all hear me? Okay. Well, I too warmly welcome everyone here today. And whether you live close by or you've traveled far, I'm really touched that you're with me today. The idea for a father-son exhibition by the Maugers was in the back of my mind for quite a while. But until Dr. Clay Marsh and Dean Karen Diaz committed the personnel and the other resources necessary, it was just a dream. It takes imagination and talent and commitment to turn a dream into reality. And I especially want to thank and acknowledge all of the creative, caring people who made my dream a reality. It's out there, and I hope you'll share the experience of seeing it afterwards. Dr. Marsh, thank you for committing space at the Health Science Center to the Art in the Library project, and for dedicating part of that space to my late husband's memory. Art would be very humbled and very proud. Dean Diaz, thank you for supporting the WVU Library's innovative Art in the Art Library project that showcases creative ways to go across disciplines and to encourage new ways of seeing and learning and understanding. The visual arts were always an important part of Art and my life together. During our travel adventures, almost always, it would include a visit to at least one museum. Some of them were old friends, and some of them were new experiences. We took a joyful delight in discovering a new favorite museum and in appreciating the colors, the shapes, the textures, and the emotional experiences the visual arts on display brought into our lives. Whether it was the Brooklyn Museum, the Art Institute of Chicago, the Israel Museum in Jerusalem, or more recently, the Art Museum of West Virginia University, my art championed them all. The reproduced images in the Mauger exhibit that you'll have a chance to see are very true to their originals, And I can say that with complete certainty because Niles and I saw many of the originals when we visited with Karen and with John in their home in Salt Lake City. For that, I sincerely thank Sally Brown, the curator of the exhibit, and the Appalachian Gallery in town. Thank you too to Katie Thompson, the curator of the Neal Museum of the Health Sciences, along with Clark Ridgway, who traced the history of the WVU School of Pharmacy and integrated several pieces of Jack Nowit's memorabilia into the showcases in front of the Neal Museum. So much work goes on behind the scenes, and often it's a kind of invisible work that only becomes evident the day of an event such as this, when things go flawlessly. And for that, I thank Paula Martinelli, Scotty Foltz, and Francine Mosniak. And then there are my dear, dear friends, the Mauger family. John and Karen and Jeffrey and Jen. And of course, Jeremy, who we tragically lost last November. We miss you, Jeremy, every day, and especially at moments like this. The Maugers and the Jacknowitzes share a deep friendship that goes back more than 50 years. And their years mostly filled with laughter, but some tears as well. My thanks especially to John and Jeff for your friendship and for enthusiastically sharing your talents with us. It's more than 51 years ago that Art and I stood right outside here, overlooking what we then called Med Center Hill. He had a job offer in his pocket at the starting salary of $13,200. Now it was up to us to decide, were we going to trade the big city life we knew for something very different? We looked out upon the West Virginia landscape, and we saw every shade of green possible that could be found in an artist's palette. Art came back from his initial visit here at WVU, from the interview, very excited about the potential opportunities here. Even more so now that he had in his hip pocket the job offer. He looked at me and he asked, "But what do you really think, Linny?" And I answered, "Of course we have to come here. We will never live any place as beautiful as this." And so we did. And so we came. And the people and the state of West Virginia embraced us. And we embraced them right back. And we still do. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Linda. It's all good. We're good. So this ends our formal ceremony, but it's such a wonderful opportunity to renew connections to old friends that are here, make new friends. We have refreshments and food over here. We should have some drinks in the back, maybe. And again, the Health Science Museum is open for anyone who'd like to visit through that. And that is a really remarkable museum. The School of Pharmacy Museum is open, and I'm presuming Clark Ridgway may be taking people through because he is the bomb doing that. That's good. And then we have the artwork on the back wall, which is really the program that we have talked about today. But for me, anytime that we honor a faculty member, his or her family, a school the academic mission that we have. It's always inspiring, and it's a great honor for all of us to be able to appreciate and recognize the talent and the impact of the people that walk through these doors. And we all stand in a very long blue and gold line for many people before us, and we all stand on the shoulders of the people before us. So we're incredibly honored to be able to be here today. We're incredibly honored to have the Mauger family join us, and we're just so delighted that everyone showed up. And please make yourself at home and grab one of these bookmarks because they're unique and priceless. But if there is anything that for me is my favorite part of my job, it's getting to be here and experience these types of events in the service of others and in the service of healing and beauty and bringing everything back together again, which is the power of the university. So thanks very much and have a great day.